Thieves will steal our cars, our valuables, just about anything they can get their hands on. To cut down on crime and antisocial behaviour, the police and other agencies are using new tactics and technology so the bad guys get caught in the act.
The CCTV is gold dust.
Great evidence for the police.
Gotta have him stopped.
Local councils, shops and businesses are laying some traps of their own.
The eureka moment when you get that evidence.
And the general public too can help unsuspecting crooks get their comeuppance.
People won't stand by.
I couldn't sit back and do nothing.
Yes, we've got her.
So anyone who's up to no good had better think twice. They might just get caught red-handed. Today, when a grandmother's money starts to go missing, the family are shocked to find out who's responsible.
This person betrayed all the trust that we put in her.
It's the last person they suspected. Also today, follow that car, an exciting ride for a local man whose 4x4 is commandeered by police for a pursuit.
I shuffled across, he jumped in and off we went in hot pursuit.
Just like the movies, but the going gets tough.
I didn't realise it could go that fast. It's just, oh dear, it's going to go bang in a minute.
And a robber holds up a corner shop at gunpoint. But hold on, that's not a gun, it's a banana. Colchester, Essex. These pictures are from elderly grandmother Barbara's living room. Barbara suffers from Alzheimer's and needs help from people like the carer shown here.
My mum really liked the carer. She's the person that we'd bought wedding presents, birthday presents for.
But when money keeps going missing from their mum's handbag, they want to know what's going on. So now, a homemade hidden camera is streaming footage to Barbara's family, who are watching it live from miles away. What they see happening live in front of their eyes comes as a shock.
I was just so angry that this person betrayed all the trust that we put in her and betrayed the trust of a little old lady.
Colchester, East Essex. For the past few years, Julie and her sister have been looking after their mum Barbara's finances. Barbara's family have asked that we don't use her real name. But over half a century ago, it was their mum who took good care of them.
My mum and dad were married for just under 50 years, and I have to say my mum really wore the trousers, and she did her best to make sure that we had what we needed and that we had a great childhood.
Julie's father passed away in 1996. Then, more than 10 years later, they noticed that their mum was becoming forgetful.
We didn't think it was Alzheimer's because, quite frankly, my mum is a very smart person. She was always on the ball and she was very informed, but she was subsequently sent for tests where it was diagnosed that she did have Alzheimer's.
Julie and her sister are advised to take over the running of their mum's affairs.
A power of attorney enables you to give someone that you really trust complete control over your finances and your health and welfare. So for us, it meant that we could always look at her bank accounts and we could talk to any authority about anything to do with my mum.
As the family don't live very near Barbara, they arrange for a carer to visit her every day.
Mum really liked her, we were happy with her, you know, we were only concerned that my mum was being cared for properly and that she liked the carer that was coming to see her every day.
Julie's sister drives over to visit her mum each week to take her shopping. She gives her housekeeping money, though Barbara's still able to withdraw cash herself.
Because she likes to pay the people that come to her house to do her hair, to do her gardening.
But after a while, Julie notices that her mum is taking money out more frequently.
I realised that my mother was actually spending more than I do every week, which was impossible.
Julie needs to find out what's going on.
There were no pointers towards any one person, or it might have been my mum doing something really silly with the money, we just didn't know.
She decides to investigate.
And that's when we started to talk about putting cameras in the house, just so that we could see what was happening.
But there's a problem. Most hidden cameras require daily visits to collect footage or to change batteries. Julie and her sister live too far away. So Julie asks friends if they have any ideas.
A family friend did explain to us that he could build a camera using a really small computer, and that's exactly what he did. He built the camera and we placed it in a radio in my mum's lounge.
The sisters don't want to worry their mum by telling her about the camera. They turn it on for the first time on Mother's Day. It works by streaming live pictures over the internet to the rest of the family's computers and smartphones.
My sister and the family friend who built the computer did actually both watch live on camera all the events that happened that morning, and you can quite clearly see my mum is walking around in the house looking very frail.
The camera points at Barbara's favourite chair. She likes to sit here to read the newspaper and keeps her handbag beside the chair.
The carer walked in about 8 o'clock. She was the first person to be filmed.
Barbara leaves the room. The carer places a glass of water and a pill dispenser on the table. But while she stood by the chair, she also rummages around by Barbara's handbag. A few moments later, she's back. She bends over, unfortunately blocking most of the camera's view. But she delves into the handbag and pulls out Barbara's purse. It's not easy to see, but twice she appears to pass something from the purse to her left hand. She then closes the purse and places it back in the handbag. As she turns, the stolen money can be seen in her hand. Julie hears about what's happening from her sister, who's been watching it all live.
My sister was absolutely devastated, and I was just so angry that this person that was always very friendly to us, that we'd been so nice to, was stealing from this little old lady who was really easy to care for. She's always happy, she's always cheerful. And she just betrayed all the trust that we put in her. So mine was anger.
The shocking footage continues as the woman makes herself at home.
To add insult to injury, instead of doing what she's actually paid to do, which is to tidy up all the mess that you can see in the background here, she actually sits down and has a good read of the paper.
The carer then checks her phone before settling back for a nap. Obviously, stealing from someone vulnerable and elderly is exhausting work.
You feel disgust and relief that you've actually caught this person has betrayed your trust.
The following day, they watch the carer steal money again, but this time they accidentally stop the recording. Julie's sister and family friend take the footage of the first theft to the police. They give witness statements for the second time they saw her steal.
They decided that there was absolute proof that she was stealing from my mother, and she was subsequently arrested.
The woman denies everything and protests her innocence. Eventually, the case goes to Crown Court and she pleads not guilty.
The jury made a unanimous decision on both counts of theft that she was guilty.
The woman is sentenced to 18 weeks in prison, suspended for 2 years. She also has to pay fines and a victim surcharge. The family are just relieved it's all over. Barbara now has new carers who she and her daughters are very pleased with.
My mum's quite happy. Her Alzheimer's has progressed. It's all very slow, but she's in her own little world. She's really happy. She's always cheerful. She likes to have a giggle. And that's why we didn't want her to know about any of this.
Julie wants to stop others from becoming a victim of this type of crime.
I think the most important thing that you can do is, first of all, to get a power of attorney, both for their health and welfare and for their financial affairs. Then it's really easy to do, to put cameras in their home. We've actually got cameras in more than one room now, not because we're suspicious of anybody stealing, but from a safety point of view, from my mum, if she wasn't in her chair for any length of time, we'd be alerted to it. So I think it's really important, and also monitor their spending.
Of course, the majority of carers are trustworthy. But many of us and our vulnerable friends and relatives have cash in the house from time to time. And there are things we can do to keep it from being stolen.
Keeping your money in a handbag or a purse, perhaps on the kitchen worktop or the coffee table, is a really bad idea because that's the first place someone will look.
Put your cash somewhere separate with your cards and everything else. That way, if they do take your whole bag, they're not taking your purse with it.
And perhaps you might want to consider recording the money that you've got and what you're spending so that you can be absolutely sure if money's going missing.
If you do have to have some cash in your house, for example, you've had some building work done and you need to pay the builder that week, then keep it quiet. The fewer people that know about it, the better.
Don't put it anywhere obvious. Think of somewhere pretty random that you know that's unique to your property. They're not likely to be able to look there, wouldn't know where to look.
And now, a robber who literally goes bananas. As cheeky thefts go, this is the pick of the bunch. Entering a grocery store, this man already has money in his hand, but he wants more. It turns out he's as bent as the bananas besides the counter, and maybe that's why they catch his eye. Picking one up, he puts it in his pocket and then goes to the shop assistant pretending he's got a gun. He demands the contents of the till, and the assistant, actually believing the man's armed, hands over the money. The robber then asks for cigarettes. One can only wonder what he'd have done if something else had been next to the counter. A melon or pineapple probably wouldn't be so effective. Now another customer comes to the counter to buy a drink. She's completely oblivious that she's interrupting a stick-up, but deciding it would be fruitless to ask for any more, the man with the banana splits. Though he fails to avoid the potential banana skin of the rubbish bin, and he's also slipped up by having his face caught on camera. Keen to avoid another banana drama, the police released these images, asking the public to keep their eyes peeled. So surely it won't be long before Banana Man is in custody. Coming up, a thief works over a popular restaurant in the middle of the night.
The longer I see this, the angrier I'm getting now.
He takes a fag break, but leaves behind a clue, his cigarette butt, and the restaurant owner's cameras smoking out. But first, an off-road boys' own adventure where a local man joins forces with the police to track an elusive criminal. County Durham. Farmers' lives are being made a misery by a persistent thief who's been stealing large amounts of their machinery and farm vehicles.
The impact of these thefts are massive. These are pieces of equipment that are the livelihood of the people that they're stealing from.
This is him, filmed from a police helicopter in a stolen 4x4. He recklessly destroys fences, putting animals in danger.
You can see the sheep, the horses scattering all over the place.
The thief's getting away until a local man, David, offers the police his own 4x4.
He was looking up at me and I said, "You need one of these, mate." And he said, "Can we borrow it?"
David and the police set off in hot pursuit.
I didn't realise it could go that fast.
The chase is on. We're on the borders of County Durham and North Yorkshire. David lives and works in this area of outstanding natural beauty.
It's stunning countryside, whichever way you look. It's mainly arable land and it's big open fields.
These wide open spaces are David's office, so he knows them well.
I've worked here for 20-something seasons now, and so yeah, you know every farm, every landowner, where the gates are, where the gates aren't.
But the isolated country lanes and fields can also be useful to thieves who target farms.
You hear about it all the time. It's happened to us, you know. Sometimes you won't know who these people are, but you can't do anything about it.
But there's one thief that Superintendent Andy Huddleston and his team from Durham Police are especially keen to track down.
And this person was wantable for multiple offences across the whole of the north of England. He was pinching four-wheel drives, trailers, anything that was sort of agriculturally related, really.
These are crimes that are causing some real hardship for the victims.
They were farmers that were in parts of the world that are not particularly wealthy. That's going to have a massive impact on how they do their business.
The police are desperate to catch this thief in the act. but when they've tried to follow him in the past, he's used the rough terrain to escape.
Vehicles that he's stealing, he knows he could go off-road, do things that we just physically couldn't do with the vehicles that we had.
But one afternoon in September, they get another chance. The thief is driving off with a stolen 4x4 pickup truck and trailer, and he's been spotted. A police helicopter tracks him, while Andy and other officers approach in patrol cars. They tell the driver to pull over, but he has other ideas. Suddenly veering off the road, the thief, who's with an accomplice, busts through a fence. They quickly detach the trailer. So now the 4x4 can easily outmaneuver the patrol cars on the rough ground. The helicopter can follow the criminals, but will have to refuel at some point. It's frustrating for Andy.
Yep, you think, what can we do to stop this person?
Enter David, who's unwittingly about to get involved. He's on his way home after a morning on the moors, driving along a back road to avoid traffic. Suddenly, the stolen pickup races out of some farmland and onto the lane ahead of him.
And this pickup flies out in front of me here. I think he brakes suddenly because he saw there's a gap to a track. So I stopped and thought, what on earth's going on? Because it all looked very dodgy. And he tore across there, like up that track, to the bottom of that wood.
David doesn't know what to make of the situation.
I thought, oh, this is bad, boys. This looks interesting. With that comes, I don't know, 3 police patrol cars.
The police are still on the tail of the 4x4, but can't keep up over the rough farmland. Andy's police car comes to a halt next to David.
And I looked down at him sort of jokingly because he was looking up at me, and I said, you need one of these, mate.
And that's just what Andy's thinking.
The vehicle was a Land Rover, and for me, exactly what we needed to continue on with what we do.
He said, can we borrow it? And I said, well, you can get in.
Andy explains that as the vehicle's commandeered, he will have to drive.
I shuffled across, he jumped in, and off we went in hot pursuit.
By now, the pickup's far ahead, but the helicopter's still keeping track.
You have a traffic officer, trained authorised, following in a green Land Rover.
As Andy tries to catch up with the pickup, he has reservations about bringing David.
Because really, I wanted the vehicle. I didn't really want anybody else with me.
But David's local knowledge proves useful.
I said, we know you to go up here because you'll cut him off. He's way in front now. You'll meet him.
This was a guy who knew the area. I couldn't have asked for a better crewmate to continue what we needed to do.
The helicopter camera shows Andy and David's vehicle is a few fields behind the stolen 4x4, but they're closing in fast.
Everything was jumping around in the back. I didn't realise it could go that fast. Oh dear, it's going to go bang in a minute.
The driver of the stolen pickup definitely isn't following the countryside code.
They just ran through a fence.
He had everything to play for. He knew he was going to go to prison if he got caught here.
He was just going straight through everything, you know. And I thought, well, he's going to break the pickup in the end.
Yeah, he's immediately off your 3 o'clock area. It's just to our right at the moment.
But even the pickup can't bust through a metal gate. The passenger gets out and opens it. He can see Andy and David are hot on their heels.
We nearly had him then. He slammed the gate literally in front of us, and so we had to stop, open the gate, and then he got away. And that's when he disappeared into this farmyard.
He's manoeuvring through the farm,
The helicopter warns Andy the pickup has suddenly stopped.
Off to your right, he's stopped, off to your right.
At first, it looks like the driver is trapped in a dead end, but really, he's planning an ambush.
And he said what they've done in the past is they've reversed straight into the radiator of the police car. And literally, as we came around the corner, these pair of reversing lights are staring at us.
The stolen 4x4 tries to ram them, but Andy gets out of the way.
Yeah, he's reversed towards the Discovery. He's trying to ram the Discovery. Stand by.
And then that was the funny moment. He thought it was just some farmer chasing him. And then he looked up and saw this guy in uniform driving this Land Rover, you know. He was off again, like a scolded cat.
It's an off again through the farm.
Andy and David keep him in sight.
And never before had the police continued to follow him with such degree of, we've got a vehicle that can match yours in terms of what you're doing.
But the driver's increasingly desperate attempt to evade capture has taken its toll on the stolen pickup.
We noticed all this pipework hanging out underneath.
He's actually ruptured the fuel tank on his vehicle.
Running out of fuel, the driver speeds into a field full of sheep and horses, nearly hitting the animals. He's trying to escape onto the main road.
It looks like he's trying to get away onto the 66.
But David's already told the police there's only one way out of the field, and they're waiting for the stolen vehicle there. It's boxed in.
And that's, for me, been the turning point where I just decided, look, it's game over.
Finally, after nearly half an hour off-road, the men give up. As Andy goes to arrest the driver, a plainclothes officer comes to help, while another deals with the accomplice.
I confirm 2 males arrested.
It's the end of the road and the off-road for this driver. He's charged with multiple offences. In court, he's convicted of theft of vehicles and other agricultural items. He's sentenced to 2 years and 8 months in jail. This criminal had been a thorn in the side of local farmers. Police were keen to reward David for his help.
I got a bottle of whiskey off Durham Constabulary and a police commendation as well.
David's an absolute star. Had he not been the person with that knowledge in that vehicle, we would not have had the result that we had.
Though on the day, David had a bit of explaining to do to his wife and family.
Yeah, when I got home, like 2 hours later than they were expecting me back, you didn't know really where to start, really. I had to explain why the Land Rover had a few scratches and dents on it, so I got Andy to do that.
Smoking is not good for anyone's health, but it's a particularly bad habit to have if you're a burglar. Cardiff, South Wales. Meet Giovanni. This flamboyant Italian is a well-known local restaurateur, and many famous celebrities have been through his doors.
We look after celebrities and lots of wonderful customers. And we love families together, having a great time. That's special, you know. Hola, hola. Hello there.
But the high life can sometimes attract the low life. This man's broken into the restaurant after closing time, looking for items that aren't on the menu. He's so brazen. In the middle of his raid, he even stops for a cigarette.
The longer I see this, the angrier I'm getting now. It's disgusting.
Hoping this crook can get served his just desserts, Giovanni puts the restaurant's CCTV footage out on the internet.
Now we've got a massive following, and it just went viral.
He hopes someone will give him a tip and identify the thief. The Welsh capital Cardiff is a busy port, and its regular influx of tourists means it has a thriving dining scene. Born in Italy, Giovanni came to live here when he was 3. He now runs this restaurant in the city with his family.
I don't call it a job, you know, I really call it a passion. We're traditional Italian, you know, we do modern specialities, but a lot of our food is traditional, and we like being traditional, and we love families together having a great time. That's special, you know. And also running as a family, everyone's part of the family.
Giovanni discovered his love of food at an early age, helping out in the kitchen at his parents' takeaway business. Then, as a young man, he travelled the world, working as a waiter on cruise liners.
She missed sunny South Wales. The Welsh people are wonderful. So I came back and decided to open a restaurant in Cardiff.
To begin with, Giovanni's restaurant is a humble affair.
I remember cooking on a 4-burner cooker, the way you would cook at home, you know. I mean, it's funny, when we first started, we used to give customers, you know, barrels of beer to sit on, and they'd say, we got one more, so we got no chairs left.
Giovanni sticks at it. More than 30 years on, his restaurant has grown. He's also had some rather famous diners through the doors.
And if you've got passion and you believe you're going to succeed, then the chances are you will. If you've got no heart, you've got no pasta. Pasta, where'd that come from?
But Giovanni and his beloved pasta need protection from crime. Having been a victim of thieves in the past, he installs CCTV cameras, and they soon prove their worth. It's a Sunday morning, and Giovanni arrives to find there's been a break-in. Doors are damaged and equipment stolen.
It's frustrating. When you work so hard and you buy things you need, and then somebody comes along and steals them, you get really angry, you know.
Giovanni calls the police and then checks the CCTV. It's nearly 4 AM when this man appears in the restaurant building. The burglar alarm is ringing, but it's a Saturday night and there's loud music playing in a nearby nightclub. So with all the noise, nobody hears the alarm, and the burglar continues undisturbed. But he's unable to get into the restaurant itself, as there are strong combination locks on the doors. So after searching the rest of the building, he finds some tools. And then he starts chiselling away at the padlock on the door to the maintenance room.
The locks are very strong, but you know, at some point they are going to give.
Eventually, after using a chisel, a screwdriver and then a shovel, he prizes the door open and starts searching for stuff to steal. He's so laid back, he even comes out for a fag break halfway through.
The longer I see this, the angrier I'm getting now. It is just so disrespectful.
After finishing his cigarette, the thief flicks the butt up into a hole in the ceiling. He then finally leaves, taking hundreds of pounds worth of tools.
These tools sadly belong to one of my staff, you know, Stefan, who's our in-house maintenance chap. Stealing something is bad enough. Stealing tools where a person needs to use them to make a living, that's disgusting.
Giovanni pays to replace the tools and has to repair the damage caused to the doors. But the thief has miscalculated.
He didn't realise there was cameras watching him.
And after looking at the CCTV, the police go up into the ceiling, retrieve the cigarette end and send it off for forensic analysis. While the police investigate, Giovanni also decides to do his own bit to help. He puts images of the man on the restaurant's internet webpage.
Now, we got a massive following because of the Giovanni's restaurants. You know, we got a lot of customers. They shared it and shared it and shared it, and it just went viral. It's amazing how many people thought they recognised him.
The same name keeps coming up, and Giovanni passes it on to the police.
And the police then were able to do a search. They knew what they were looking for.
In less than a month, the burglar is arrested. And smoking so nonchalantly leads him to getting his fingers burnt because the discarded cigarette end has been analysed and he's positively linked to the crime.
They took the DNA and then they were able to match the DNA with the thief.
The restaurant thief has served himself up on a plate. In court, he pleads guilty to burglary and is given a 112-day prison sentence and fines. Since the burglary, more cameras have been added and the alarm system updated to make sure service continues with a smile at Giovanni's.
Best feeling in the world is to see customers laughing, to see customers having a great night out together. That's why I can't understand thieves, because there are so many ways to earn a living, to feel good about it.
And Giovanni should know. It's a far cry from customers sitting on beer barrels.
A long time ago. In fact, I've gone from being the youngest restaurant owner to the oldest restaurant owner. Say no more. Yeah, if I don't look it, don't worry.
That's it for today. Join us next time when police and the public catch more criminals red-handed.
Limbering up for a great Friday night in. It's Sport Relief here on BBC One with David Walliams and Gary Lineker kicking things off at the Olympic Park from 7. Now, Christina Trevenian takes charge as we go bargain hunting in Northamptonshire.